friends, I'm Arpit and I'm here with today's analysis. Today is 10th of October and we're going to deal with three very important topics which are in news. The first is 2023 has been declared as the driest year for global rivers by the WMO, that is World Meteorological Organization. We are anticipating 2024 to be the hottest year on record. 2023 is already declared the hottest year on record. And now, this report by WMO, which classifies rivers all across the world as the driest in their driest state in the last 30 years. Obviously, this can be attributed to global warming, none other than that. Next is Health Ministry enhances contribution for TB patients. Those TB patients who have been notified under the government program, they have been allocated 1000 rupees per month under the Prime Minister's Nikshay Poshan Abhiyan. Nikshay Poshan Abhiyan aims to give direct cash transfers to the TB patients so that they can, increase their nutritional intakes. This increase of nutritional intakes can reduce their burden on the pockets. It can also improve their conditions while they are fighting TB and thereby also can reduce their out of pocket expenditure. Overall betterment of the TB patients is aimed by this Pradhan Mantri Nikshay Poshan Abhiyan. Next is India's black carbon emissions. It has been found that the black carbon emissions from India are on the rise, particularly by burning kerosene lamps in the rural areas where light is or whenever electricity goes off. Under the Saubhagya scheme, electrification has been done, but round the clock 24 by 7 electricity is not yet provided in multiple parts of the country yet. And in the absence of light, kerosene lamps are burned, and due to the burning of those kerosene lamps, the black carbon is emitted. Black carbon is emitted due to improper burning of the, I would say, hydrocarbons. These are kind of black soot, particulate matter 2.5 pm, 2.5, which are suspended in the air, and they cause global warming because they are absorbers of heat. So they absorb heat and they cause warming over here in the atmosphere. Then we come to the MCQs, and obviously we will be discussing the MCQs of yesterday. So 2023, the driest year for the rivers in 3 decades. This is basically a study done by WMO or released by WMO, World Meteorological Organization. It is a specialized agency under United Nations. This WMO is basically responsible for climate change related, I would say, conferences and all. So UNFCCC and all are conducted under the aegis of WMO. The State of Global Water Resources Report is the name of this report, coordinated by WMO, has indicated that 2023 is the driest year for global rivers in over 30 years. This trend highlights critical shifts in water availability. See, the population is rising. Global warming is also rising. Global warming is leading to more evaporation, more losses of water, and thereby leaving less amount of water for individuals. So per capita availability of water is declining. And if I talk about per capita availability of water in India, it is not that great. It is somewhere around 200 to 220 cubic meters. Whereas that of China, it is just the double, somewhere around 430 cubic meters. Because China has harnessed the river waters pretty well. China has around 98,000 dams constructed, and in India, I'm not aware about the exact figure, but yes, it is somewhere around 10,000. So, specifically talking about India. So, you see, India, the eastern side of India, you see it yellow. It is all yellow. Yellow is below and much below availability of water is there. The western part is blue, above and much above availability of water is there. If I talk about neighboring Pakistan, so it is all blue. There above and much above availability of water is there. But what are they doing? Are they utilizing this precious resource for developing their industry, for developing their agriculture? I don't think so. These people are focusing upon developing the terrorism industry, which they should be not doing. So this is the world map. The yellow ones show that regions where below and much below data is there. The orange ones are much below, yellow are below, gray is normal. 31% of the rivers are having normal water flows. In 17% of the rivers, there is above and much above water flow. That is obviously good news. And there is no data available for 7% of the rivers. But most of it you will see is yellow. That is why 2023 the driest year for river water availability. Now, key findings, there is water scarcity because we could see much of it as yellow. 3.6 billion people lack adequate access to water for at least 1 month each year. This figure will raise to 5 billion by 2050, and obviously this projection is something which we don't want at all. This trend signifies a stark deviation from Sustainable Development Goal number 6. Sustainable Development Goal number 6 aims to provide universal access to water and sanitation. Universal means everyone should have access to clean drinking water. In this context, Government of India has launched the Jal Jeevan mission for providing piped drinking water to all the rural households by 2000. I would say 24. The target year was, and the Government of India is almost there. But yes, pipe connections and all are there, but how much water is coming? As per the scheme, 55 liters of water per person per day should be available in their households from a functional household tap connection. But is this figure being matched? Well, that is a big question, and most likely it is not being matched because the per capita availability of water in India is not up to the mark that it can be matched. The Jal Jeevan Mission is specifically for rural areas. For urban areas, there is the I would say Amrut Mission, Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation. There we have to supply water to all the urban households. Now, declining river flows. The past 5 years have consistently recorded below normal river flows, with reservoir inflows following a similar downward trend. This situation exacerbates water scarcity for communities, agriculture, and ecosystems. There is a lot of glacial loss, means glaciers are getting lost. 2023 marked the largest mass loss of glaciers recorded in the last 50 years. It is the second consecutive year where all glacier regions reported ice losses, amounting to a loss of over 600 gigatons of water globally. So glaciers are melting. Obviously, we have heard about it a lot. They are melting due to climate change or global warming. Impact of climate change. This report links the drought conditions to human-induced climate change, which has raised temperatures and disrupted the hydrological cycle. And due to the disruption of hydrological cycle, extreme weather events, they are becoming more and more unpredictable, I would say. This includes both prolonged droughts and instances of severe flooding. Extreme weather events transition from La Nina to El Nino. La Nina is that condition in which the I would say high pressure zone is created on the western coast of South America. This leads to increased rainfall like conditions in India, in countries like India or in the Indian subcontinent. El Nino is low pressure creation conditions are created in the western coast of South America, which leads to reduced or less rainfall in the Indian subcontinent. These La Nina, El Nino happened in 2023. El Nino was existing, and from El Nino conditions, we have transformed to a La Nina conditions, and this oscillation is concerning for the world. Report notes that water is critical indicator of climate change impact. A call for action. WMO General Secretary Celeste Solo emphasized that urgency of addressing water related challenges, describing water as the canary in the coal mine of climate change. He noted the need for immediate action to prevent worsening conditions for ecosystems and human populations. Obviously, water is a very basic necessity for survival, and if it is not available or there is scarcity, then it can lead to geopolitical tensions as well. And as is predicted, that if the next world war happens, it can happen on water. Now, the WMO's recommendations. There is enhanced monitoring. WMO calls for improved monitoring and data sharing practices regarding water resources to better address and forecast water related hazards. Early warnings for all. Early warning systems should be installed, and like a drought is there to come, then early warning should be issued so that people can conserve water, reduce the wastage. If a flood is about to come, then accordingly preparations should be done. These can minimize or reduce the losses due to these extreme weather events and help in better preparedness by the people. Now, you should know some things about WMO as well, because as part of this UPSC preparation, UPSC can be uh, quite into this, can ask about WMO. WMO is a specialized agency of United Nations which is specifically dealing with climate related, I would say, events. So it was established in the year 1950. It is a specialized agency of United Nations. It serves as the authoritative voice on the state and behavior of Earth's atmosphere, climate, and hydrological resources. Considering the historical background of WMO, WMO too was established in 1950, but before that, there was this International Meteorological Organization which was existing, founded in 1873 to promote international cooperation in meteorology. Meteorology is nothing but study of the climate. It became a UN specialized agency to enhance global capabilities in weather and climate monitoring, which are essential for economic development, environmental sustainability, and public safety. Key functions and objectives of WMO. First is meteorological services. Obviously, it provides leadership and expertise in meteorology, that is weather and climate, operational hydrology, and related geophysical sciences. International cooperation, it promotes collaboration among national meteorological and hydrological services. Like UNFCCC is basically a conference which is hosted by WMO. It is responsible for conducting it, and that is part of its international cooperation, I would say, domain. Climate change and adaptation, it this plays a very crucial role in addressing climate change, providing vital information and tools. Vital information and tools, talking about information, so it has established Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. It is a scientific body which is responsible for doing research or finding crucial information with respect to climate change. This was established in the year 1987, if I'm not wrong. Disaster risk reduction, because these climate change events, they lead to a lot of disasters also, the human induced disasters. So the aim is to reduce that as well. So it works on improving early warning systems for natural hazards, aiming to reduce vulnerability and enhance preparedness for extreme weather events. And obviously it is aiming at sustainable development. It contributes to global efforts to achieve sustainable development goals, particularly those related to clean water, climate action, and sustainable economic development. Next is Health Ministry enhances support for TB patients. This support is in the form of cash transfers. Earlier, these cash transfers were 500 rupees per month. Now they have been increased to 1000 rupees per month for the notified TB patient. What is the purpose of these cash transfers? So that these TB patients can spend more on their nutritional intake. So this is how this is, and it is called as the Nikshay Poshan Yojana of the government, from 500 to 1000 rupees, and has been increased. Now, key highlights: increased financial allocation of rupees 1140 crore has been approved for Nikshay Poshan Yojana, aimed at providing nutritional support to all TB patients. Coverage expansion: all households contacts of TB patients will now be included under Pradhan Mantri TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan. TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, by 2025, we have to eliminate TB from India. Earlier, the target year was 2030, but we have brought it down to 2025, ensuring they receive social support from the community. Talking about direct benefits transfers, as of now, 3202 crore rupees has been disbursed to approximately 1.13 crore beneficiaries through DBT, that is direct benefits transfer system, under the Nikshay Poshan Yojana. And since now the allocations have been doubled from 500 to 1000 rupees, there will be more transfers to these people. These transfers are for enhanced nutritional support. Nutritional support is being expanded to include food baskets distributed by Nikshay Mitras to household contacts of TB patients, thereby improving the overall immunity of family members. So, most of the diseases, if you are eating properly, your body is basically becoming more and more capable of responding to such kind of situations or such kind of pathogens. That is the main, I would say, agenda of this particular Nikshay Poshan Abhiyan. Energy dense nutritional supplements. Introduction of energy dense nutritional supplements will target around 12 lakh underweight patients, those with a body mass index below 18.5 kgs per meter square. This supplementation will be provided for the first 2 months of treatment. Overall nutritional support: TB patients will now receive total nutritional support ranging from rupees 3000 to rupees 6000 under the Nikshay Poshan Yojana. About this Nikshay Poshan Yojana, NPY was launched by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in April 2018 as a centrally sponsored scheme, means states are also involved in it under the National Health Mission. Type, it operates as a direct benefits transfer scheme under the National Tuberculosis Elimination Program in India. This National Tuberculosis Elimination Program has this the PM TB Mukt Bharat Yojana, and we have to be mukt from TB, means be free from TB by 2025. So objectives to provide nutritional support to TB patients to improve treatment outcomes and overall health. Beneficiaries are all notified TB patients eligible for this scheme. So improving nutritional status, one objective. Better treatment outcome will be there if nutritional intake is better. Better adherence, because TB is one such disease where you need to be very strict on your medicine intake, on your dietary intake. So it will lead to better adherence. Increasing notification rate. There will be Nikshay Mitras and all which will be visiting your houses or homes very frequently, and you will also be receiving notifications on your mobile phone. Reducing out of pocket expenditure of those patients, because if you are consuming better nutrition, there are more chances of early recovery and better recovery, thereby reducing the out of pocket expenditure. Eligibility criteria and implementation. TB patients notified by the government on or after April 1, 2018, including those already undergoing treatment, qualify for the financial incentives. Patients must be registered on the Niksha portal to be eligible for benefits. Implementation. The scheme is operational across all states and union territories in India. It is a centrally sponsored scheme. About TB, TB is an infectious disease primarily affecting the lungs, but it can be anywhere. It can be in your stomach, it can be in uh, you know any part of your body. And there's a bacteria called as Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and it can spread through the air via droplets released when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or spits. TB is both preventable and curable with appropriate medical treatment, and that too, timely medical treatment should be there. Next is India's black carbon emissions from kerosene lamps. They are on the rise. See, it is not like India is running on kerosene lamps. But yes, whenever electricity is gone, then kerosene lamps we are dependent upon, especially in the rural areas. So we burn kerosene lamps, we do whatever we have to do. Like, this image shows that this guy is studying in kerosene lamps. So, if there is erratic power supply, then the usage of such kind of lamps increases. But with these lamps, a lot of black carbon is being emitted. A recent study has revealed that India's reliance on kerosene based lamps contributes significantly to black carbon emissions, releasing 12.5 gigagrams of this potent climate pollutant annually. Now, black carbon, what is black carbon? Black carbon is emitted when the hydrocarbons are improperly burned. Okay? So, kind of black particulate matter, PM 2.5, is emitted. Now, this particulate matter, since it is black in nature, and black is a very, I would say, good absorber of heat. So, it absorbs the atmospheric heat. It makes the atmospheric heat to stay over here in the atmosphere only. The atmospheric heat cannot escape due to that black carbon also. So, it aids or it contributes in global warming, which is obviously a concern. This figure accounts for approximately 10% of total residential black carbon emissions, which also includes emissions from cooking and heating. Key findings: prevalence of kerosene use is there. About 30% of rural households in India depend on kerosene lamps as a secondary light source when the light is gone during power outages, with this figure rising to 70% in eastern regions. Regional emissions: the eastern part of India contributes 60% of the country's black carbon emissions from secondary light sources, totaling to 7.5 gigagrams. Impact of power supply: despite efforts to reduce kerosene consumption through initiatives like the Saubhagya scheme. Saubhagya scheme was all about providing electricity to all the houses in the country. Frequent power outages force many households to resort to kerosene lighting. So what has happened? Electrification has done. On all the houses, electricity cables are reaching. But you know, uh, how much hours in a day we are able to give electricity to those cables? That is a question. Whenever there will be an electricity outage, people will depend upon these kind of alternate sources. Research methodology. Researchers from the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay conducted surveys from 2018 to 20, visiting 6,000 households to analyze fuel usage patterns and emissions from different lighting devices. Types of kerosene devices. There are wick lamps and there are hurricane lamps. Simple homemade devices. Hurricane lamps, more sophisticated designs like the one which was there in the picture. Emission estimates. Emission factor for black carbon varies significantly among lamp types. Flat wick lamps 190 grams per kg of kerosene burned. Wick lamps 61.4 grams per kg. Hurricane lamps 17.2 grams per kg. So the most effective is this hurricane lamp. Burn rates for these lamps were also measured, showing significant variation based on design. Diwali lighting emissions were also taken into account in this study. Also examined emissions from traditional Diwali lights, the diyas and all which we burn, commonly powered by the sesame or edible oils. These lamps could emit an additional 3 gigagrams of black carbon during the festival season, and it is coming. Switching from kerosene to wax based lamps could potentially reduce emissions by up to 90%, which we call mombatti. So it is like this. Basics about black carbon. They are commonly referred to as soot. Black carbon is a component of fine particulate air pollution or pollutant PM 2.5 formed by the incomplete combustion of wood, fossil fuels and other organic material. What is the climate impact of it? Black carbon has a global warming potential of 460 to 1,500 times stronger than CO2, contributing to climate change and altering weather patterns. So it is a stronger greenhouse gas. It has more potential than the carbon dioxide. Health effects. Exposure to black carbon is linked to serious health risks, including heart disease, birth complications, and premature death. Environmental and health impacts. Atmospheric warming it causes. It warms the atmosphere by effectively absorbing light, which alters regional weather patterns and ecosystem cycles. Snow and ice melt. When deposited on snow and ice, it reduces surface albedo. Albedo is the amount of light which is being reflected by the snow surfaces, leading to increased melting and further exacerbating global warming. Reflection will reduce, absorption will increase because these black carbons, they are known good absorbers of heat and light. So that will lead to melting of ice at a much faster rate. Health risk studies indicate that black carbon exposure significantly raises the risk of cardiovascular and respiratory diseases since they are particulate matter. So they can penetrate deep into our lungs as well, causing these harms. Now the MCQs. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. First is rivers in eastern part of India are having less average flow of water than that in the western part are having above average flow of water. Second statement, SDG 5 aims at equitable access to water and sanitation. So which of these statements is are correct? You have to find it carefully. Do this. Second, consider the following statements with respect to World Meteorological Organization and mark the correct one. It is a specialized agency under United Nations. The UN Secretary General is the de facto head of WMO. Which of these statements are correct? Which of the following can be considered as the objective of PM Nikshay Poshan program? Better nutritional outcome for the notified TB patients, reducing out of pocket expenditure for the TB patients, better treatment outcome for the TB patients. Find the correct combination. Fourth, which of the following pathogen causes tuberculosis? Virus, bacteria, protozoa, or none of the above? There could not be a simpler question than this one in today's 5 questions. Fifth is consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Black carbon is caused due to incomplete combustion of wood and fossil fuels. Black carbon warms the atmosphere by effectively absorbing light. Only one, only two, both one and two, or neither one nor two. Now, the answers to yesterday's question. Consider the following statements and mark how many of them are correct. Mpox is a zoonotic disease. Till here, this statement is correct, but cannot be spread from humans to humans. This is wrong. So, this statement is not completely correct. It can be spread from humans to humans. Second, a diagnostic technique based on polymerase chain reaction has been developed by WHO for its testing. not developed by WHO. It has been developed by Abbott Industries. So this statement is also wrong. Testing can lead to contain the spread of mpox. Yes. WHO has authorized testing from that testing kit developed by Abbott. So this statement wrong. This statement wrong because it can be spread from humans to humans. Yes, this statement is right. Commonsensical also it is. Only one is right. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Mpox is a viral disease. Yes, it is a viral disease. Headache and joint ache are symptoms of Mpox virus. Yes. So, C, both 1 and 2 are correct. Third, consider the following statements and mark the correct one. The Pashtun tribes live along the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. Yes, they live in Afghanistan also. They live in Pakistan also. So, this statement is correct. The Pashtun Tahaffuz movement is a group advocating for the rights of ethnic Pashtuns. Yes, this statement is also correct. This group actually has been banned by the Pakistani government. So, C is going to be the correct answer for this one. Fourth, which of the following is known as the boundary between Afghanistan and Pakistan? McMahon line, no, it is Arunachal Pradesh and China. McDonald line, Johnson line, they are in the Aksai Chin region, India and China. Durand line is basically the correct answer for this particular question. Fifth, which of these is used as a parameter to measure the quality of water? One is biological oxygen demand. Yes, it is that oxygen which is required by the microorganisms to break down the organic matter. If this is too high, then the water is more polluted. As simple as that. pH levels depict the acidity. Yes. Total nitrogen is also another parameter to measure the quality of water. So all of the above are correct answers for this particular question. So with this, we have come to an end of today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising, keep watching these videos, and keep answering the questions. Namaste. Jai Hind.